Raton City Commission on Tuesday, March 10th, 2026 at 6 p.m. to order. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Mayor Chatterley.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Honeyfield.
Here.
Commissioner Schuster. Here. Commissioner Campbell.
Here.
And Commissioner Hoker.
Here. Will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our next regular commission meeting will be Tuesday, March 24th, 2026 at 6 p.m. right here in the commission chambers. Before we start items from citizens present tonight, I have a statement I would like to read. First of all, I am very glad that everyone is here. I'm glad you came. We've had a lot of public at our last several meetings. Welcome to everyone online as well. I believe there's been some misunderstandings of how commission meetings are conducted, so I'm going to begin by explaining some ground rules about items from citizens present. And then I will explain how we're planning to proceed tonight. First, this meeting is an open meeting, which means that the public may attend and observe. However, this is not like Facebook or coffee shop. This is a business meeting of the Raton City Commission. And as such, public comment is a privilege and not a right. It is not required under law, but we choose to include it on our regular meeting agendas because we think it's important. Second, public comment is not a time for back and forth conversation or questions and answers. It's a time for public comments. That is all. As I've stated in previous meetings and will reaffirm tonight, all commissioners' contact information is available on the city website, and all of our business cards sit next to the front desk out in the hallway. You can contact us directly or the city manager if you want to have conversations or have a lot of questions. We'll be happy to make time to sit down with you. Third, anyone who wishes to speak at this meeting, from commissioners to members of the public, per rules of order, must be individually recognized by the meeting chair, which is myself. Fourth, clapping, jeering, cheering, side comments, other interruptions are not appropriate in a business meeting and are not tolerated. Anyone violating this will be asked to be escorted out. Sixth, I do not tolerate derogatory or profane remarks. This is not the place for that type of thing. Civil behavior is expected and appreciated very much. And finally, please state your first and last name before you speak. Now I will explain a little bit how we will proceed tonight. Tonight, I will open the floor for items from citizen present and invite Raton Public Service and Miners Colfax Medical Center to inform the commission about the emergency power outage scheduled for Thursday night. This is for information only. It's not to be a question and answer either. However, everyone is always welcome, and the RPS office is handling this very well, thank you, to call them tomorrow. You could also call MCMC tomorrow if you have further questions, because I know everyone is concerned, and we want everyone to feel as comfortable as possible since we know this has to happen. I will give approximately 10 minutes if needed for that item. Next, I will take comments against the city's standing MOU of good faith non-binding with Aderix regarding the feasibility for phased projects related to a data center. I will give a few minutes for those with this viewpoint to circle up and choose a few individuals to speak for the group, who will have a total of 10 minutes of time to speak. And I will also ask for a show of hands of people supporting those people who are going to speak in that 10 minutes. You can arrange that however you like. Everybody can have a minute. You can have just a couple people speak, whatever you'd like. After that, I will take comments from those who support the city's standing MOU of good faith, non-binding intentions with Aderix regarding the phased project feasibility study related to a data center. Same process. I will give a few minutes for everyone to circle up, to choose speakers and divide that time however you would like. And I will also ask for a show of hands for those support. After these items, if there's anyone else here to discuss something else, I will give 2 minutes each for those people to speak on any other topics. When all that is finished, I will close the floor to public comment, and I will give an opportunity for the commission to make comments. There will be no further opportunity for citizens to speak at that time, and once the floor is closed, the commission will have some time to comment if they would like, and the city manager. So we will now move on to item 5, item from citizens present. The floor is now open. I would like to first invite representatives from RPS and MCMC forward to discuss the emergency power outage scheduled for Thursday night. Again, you'll have approximately 10 minutes, and please remember to state your first and last names for the commission. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Piancino. I'm the General Manager of Raton Public Service. All the commissioners, mayor, I've handed this little handout here. For people that don't know, we are planning to schedule outage Thursday the 12th from 6 p.m. until Friday 6 a.m. This is a schedule. Now, do we know it's going to take that long? No. We have a crew on site that is contractors. They brought up, I don't know how many men, they brought up 2 digger trucks, 4 bucket trucks, and our crew is at their disposal. Material, our line trucks, and all of our linemen. We are working sun up.
Hold on. Can you guys please stop the conversation? Thank you. Sorry, Dave.
That's all right. We are working sun up to sundown, both the contractors and our crew. And with that, I'd like to apologize for the outage we had on Circuit 8 today. That feeds from 11th Avenue all the way up to this area. And What had happened is our line crew was isolating a piece of underground that goes from a transmission pole that we need to replace. Sorry, it's been a stressful week. They shorted out because of mechanical failure in the J-box, and there was a big fire in their face. And I've heard a lot of comments about unscheduled outages, this and that. But when that happened, my heart sunk because I thought linemen had gotten killed or hurt. So I take that very serious, and you can ask people at the office. That was very hard for me. It's hard for me to talk about now. But let me move forward. So we have 2 transmission poles, and this pole is what we're trying to avoid. This happened in 2017, and because of this pole going down, we had another pole south of Tiger Drive about a half a mile that took stress because of that. And that's one of the poles we're going to replace. And then you look on the second page here is a graph. We got a new pole tester today, or not today, last week. So we decided to test the poles on that transmission line from the substation out to the switches on Gardner Road. On the graph, it shows that this pole, and I don't want to disclose where this pole is because I want the crews to be safe and be getting in and out from people that want to observe what's going on. This pole has, on the entrance of the drill bit, 1.5 inches of good wood. The middle 10 inches is completely rotted out, and then 1 inch on the backside. So this pole will be replaced during that outage as well. And then on the last page is pretty much a simple isolation schedule that we'll be going through. These 2 poles and the scheduled outage are for only replacing these 2 poles. And I've heard a lot of grumblings about us building new These are poles to be replaced so we don't have an unexpected outage, especially during the windy season coming up. We also did have another critical failure on a pole that we found, and it's an inline pole. So it doesn't have a sharp angle. So our crew already stubbed another temporary pole next to it, and it's going to be safe until we get out there and replace that one. That's about all I have now. Like I said, the 12-hour outage is a scheduled outage. We expect it to be shorter, but as things happen, these are hard angle poles with a lot of tension on them. Once we start coming off the old pole onto the new pole, if something bad happens, it could snap the new pole as well. We could be out longer. We always give us a certain amount of time that we expect. We expand it just a little bit for uncertainties. If we're ready to turn the power back on earlier, we will. So like I said, this is a scheduled time frame. We don't expect it to take that long, but things happen.
Thank you, Dave. Also, I will state that you guys worked really hard to get crews up here as quickly as possible to avert an emergency and double crews so that we can get everything done with one outage instead of multiple outages. Exactly. So I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Commissioner Brian Cotter, Chief Executive Officer of our Myers Colfax Medical Center. So David and his team came up and met with us Friday morning and alerted us to this. And we met as a senior team Friday afternoon and started to go through our emergency preparedness for this event. So we have a Myers Colfax, we want to keep patient safety care. Patient care. We have an emergency backup generator that we have enough fuel in its tank to run for 7 or 8 days. So most of the power at the hospital will be on, but the backup generator only serves emergency outlets, so to support our critical functions. Not every outlet will be functional at the hospital. A couple of areas that will be down. Our parking lot lights will be down, but our helipad lights will be up. We are arranging for emergency generator lighting for the emergency department parking lot and the emergency department entrance because we don't want people falling down walking into the emergency room. So we're going to have that lit. Our electronic medical records will be down. We're going to be on downtime forms. That's something normal for us. That's not unheard of. Most notably, though, our CT scanner and our new Fuji digital X-rays are going to be down. The generator power. We're even Fuji. We spoke with Fuji today. We're not confident that the generator power can support both of those, and support the rest of the hospital. We don't want to cause any damage to these machines. The CT scanner, we don't want to cause any damage to that because that will take it down for weeks and months and cost $500,000. We don't want to do that. So the CT scanner will be down. X-rays will be down, except for we'll have the ability to do portable X-rays in the emergency department. So we'll do portable X-rays in the ER. Lab will be completely up and functional. Staffing is there. Lighting in the hospital will be, we'll have lighting, within the hospital. But again, the parking lot lighting will be down. We're arranging for emergency power for lighting in the emergency department. Unfortunately, it's happening at night, so the clinic won't be affected. Inpatient will be fine. Emergency department is fine. Laboratory is fine. The X-ray will have issues. Long-term care, Stephen Kelly, our long-term care administrator, is back there. We're also activating our incident command center early Friday or Thursday afternoon for the duration of the event. So we will have leadership there. We'll have decision-making there. So I feel that we are fully prepared for this, and I want to appreciate David for reaching out Friday and working with us, so we can continue to provide safe and quality care to the folks of Raton. So again, we've talked as a leadership team every day. We've tried to cover every checkbox that we can think of. We have the emergency generator going. Like I said, we've got 8 days of fuel on hand. We can do more than that if we need to. Not every plug is going to be emergency generator power. So what I'm cautioned about is people coming to the emergency department as I've seen a lot of things on Facebook about, CPAPs and oxygen and different home medical devices. So, and I really want to emphasize that the generator does the emergency red plugs, and that is used for critical medical equipment. So I just want to, assure the public we can take care of you in case of an emergency. And I am expecting people to come to the ER, to the hospital for needs like that. But we want to caution folks that we're going to be on generator power, and not every outlet's going to be up. So we will do what we need to do for people with emergencies, respiratory emergencies, cardiac emergencies. We can do that. We have also, Dr. Salazar, our medical director, and Linda Hogg, our ER nursing director, we've contacted the local EMS jurisdictions, and they know about this. And so they were rerouting patients appropriately and talking with our pre-hospital folks to make sure no one comes to MCMC inappropriately. We can still take appropriate patients, but unfortunately, Dr. Salazar is working that night, and we'll be there that night as well. So we're taking every precaution we can and think of to make sure everything runs smooth on Thursday. So, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. Appreciate that. Okay, I will now allow a few minutes for anyone here to comment on the Atterix MOU to circle up if you would like to consolidate speakers. So we'll have about 2 minutes for you to decide if you want to nominate speakers, and we'll proceed from that point. On either side. You can...
I just have a quick question about the outage. My name's Amanda Loisa. Will the cell towers also be affected? Will we have power to make phone calls in an emergency situation?
Let me ask, thank you. Dave, do you know if the cell towers are going to be affected by the outage?
They all have generators, so the cell might have a little bit will or will not. Doesn't matter. But yeah, I talked to Rock Valley, and they said that they were going through checking all their generators for all the towers.
Okay. Thank you. Are both groups ready? All right. I will have a timer facing this way so you can see that, and then I have a timer facing me too. So we will invite the spokespeople for comments against the city's standing MOU with Atterix to come up. And at this time, when the first speaker comes up, please raise your hands right now to show us a show of support for comments against the MOU with Atterix. Against, yes. Please raise your hands. Against. Thank you. All right. Whenever the first speaker would like to come up, I will start the time.
Hi, everybody, commissioners, city manager. My name is Patricia Walsh. I live here in Raton. And first thing I want to do is apologize for creating a disruption. So I apologize to the commission for that. I'm sorry. And I also want to invite everyone who is able to come to a forum that has been scheduled. It's on 6 p.m. Monday, March 16th, and it will be at the Community Hub, former Presbyterian Church at Rio Grande and 3rd Street. We hope to share information, discuss strategies, and anyone from the city or the commission who wants to be present and talk about what they see as the potential benefits and or potential downsides. We're inviting everyone in the community to be there, including you all. And I think I'm going to stop there. I'm going to leave a copy of this for you.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
My name is John Scott Foreman. I'm a citizen of Raton, concerned citizen. I am also a member of this group that Pat just referred to. We've had one meeting before, and there's 18, 20 at this point, and I suspect more and more will come to the 16th meeting. But I and the group that I just referred to has formed to oppose any data center in Raton and demand total transparency from Atterix and the city. Okay, I have a series of questions that I've given to you, and I understand I've been told many times that this is not a question and answer period, okay? Some of these questions should be able to be answered without a feasibility study, okay? You have them in front of you. I'm thinking in terms of, well, what is Atterix's net worth? What are its assets? How long has the company existed? A couple members looked that up and they found out 2 months, in December, it became an LLC, a limited liability company, a corporation. And is the proposed data center in Raton the first facility Atterix has built? And if not, what other facilities has it built or operated? Okay, these are questions that I do not believe a feasibility study is needed to find out the net worth of Atterix or employees or how long it's been in operation. Or another question I have is if the feasibility turns out positive and they do want to build a data center of some, I understand there are everywhere from I don't know, a just colossal facility, all the way to much smaller, okay, and everything in between. So I'm wondering whether, well, Atterix must have taken a look at Raton and seen the Kmart building and figured that that is a possibility there. So obviously they've looked at the town, they know probably the population. I'm wondering what initial considerations they had to consider Raton as opposed to millions of other small towns, okay? I have been told there's cheap land in New Mexico and they go to small towns because they expect less opposition from small towns as opposed to big cities. Okay. I have a few other questions, but there are other people in our group that want to speak, and I probably already had 2 minutes, so I'll just leave these for another time. Thank you.
Thank you.
How much time do I have, Mayor?
There's 5 minutes and 42 seconds left.
I'm the last one, right? The three of us?
If there's more time, other people are welcome.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Good evening. I am Pastor Charlotte Strecker Basler, retired. Just over 2 years ago, my spouse, Pastor John, and I chose Raton as a place to retire. In this New Mexican land of enchantment, we were drawn to the beauty of this area, which also included the neighborhood wildlife of mule deer and birds. I delight in providing water for the wildlife as they visit our property. It fills my heart with joy to see the beauty of God's creation every day. Tonight, I want to continue to express my opposition to a tech startup of an AI data center hub or node here in Raton. The MOU, Memorandum of Understanding with Atarax, was not even reviewed by the city attorney per revelation by the mayor at the February 24th City Commission meeting. It is my opinion that this commission is operating in stealth mode and not telling the people of Raton and Colfax County the truth, all the while making plans to rob us of our quality of life, rob us of our natural resources, rob us of our hard-earned dollars, rob us of the ability to live on a fixed income in a community of which there are many people living on fixed incomes. John and I have talked with people in town. Some knew nothing about a possible AI data center. Others who did know about it are spitting mad about it, but they are not willing to get up and shout and protest and fight against it. Well, I am standing up on their behalf. From these conversations, John and I realized that there is a sense of fatalism in this community, a loss of hope, much like what John and I experienced as pastors in Appalachia. Fatalism because of decades of poor decisions by the city commission acting in their own interests and not listening to the people, not even asking the people what they want or what would give them hope. We need 3 honest, truthful commissioners to step forward and truly care about Raton, its people, and their well-being. We need you to vote down the tech startup and shout no, not here, not ever. Thank you.
We have a few more minutes, 3 minutes left. If you want to speak, you need to come to the podium and state your name.
Yes, ma'am. Amanda Loisa. My other comment was in regards to Atarax coming in. My question is if they have offered to build out our infrastructure that's existing because it is aged, and our water treatment plant, which would definitely need to be done. So maybe if the commission or when these contracts are drawn up, the possibility for those being some of the caveats to approval, because we don't want to overburden our existing system. And I too share Pastor's feelings. I moved here because I absolutely love it here. I think it's the jewel of New Mexico. To be quite honest, I've lived in Ruidoso and South Santa Fe. No. Raton is beautiful. It's got everything. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to attract the right kind of business that would make it even better. But that's on the horizon. We're all hoping that those kinds of decisions will be made going forward. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Margaret Baca, and I just want to, because I think this is recorded, so more people are seeing this, please explain to the citizens of Raton, because I've been watching Facebook, they have got the substation that's by Kearney that for internet purposes, the data center and this outage all meshed together thinking it's one big kerfuffle. So please separate it out for them so they know what's what. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We have a minute left if anyone else would wish to speak against the MOU. Sir?
I'd like to speak. My name's Kenneth Sigurd. I'm living here in Raton for 3 years. I moved here specifically because I love the quiet community. I love the nature around here. My concern is that we've been seeing data centers spring up all over the country recently, and they all follow the same pattern. They're investors, which are billionaire class people. They're hiding behind LLCs. They come into small communities. They have people sign non-disclosure statements so that the community is not aware of everything that's really going on. And I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned of what it will do to this community noise-wise, pollution-wise, water-wise, utility-wise. And I would like to express my opposition to it. That's one of the reasons that I moved here. And the more and more people that I meet that have moved here in the last 10 years, they feel the same way. That's exactly why they moved here. So why are we entertaining bringing something in? That's exactly why a lot of people left to come here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I will now invite comments for 10 minutes in support of the city's standing MOU with Aderix regarding the feasibility for phased projects related to a data center. Again, please state your full names. You will have approximately 10 minutes. And as we start this, if anyone would like to raise your hand and signify that you support the city continuing to follow the feasibility study, please raise your hand. Thank you.
My name is Monty McGowan. I'm a citizen of Raton. I've lived here all my life. I just wanted to say I support the commission's stance to look at feasibility. I'm not going to say I'm in support of or against. What I'm support of is getting information that's truthful, not fear-based. Living here all my life, as many of you have. I know you. You've known me. I appreciate the job that you all do, that you signed up for, were elected for. And I just appreciate you looking at it, because I actually know that you have the best interests of Raton at heart. Anytime businesses come and start, you don't necessarily can choose who comes and starts a business. I don't think I asked the city if I could come start my business. Now, I did say, hey, can I buy power? They could or they couldn't, water, all those different types of things. And I just appreciate being open to business, but also recognizing the things that the people have mentioned before, that we have quite a community. I didn't have to come back here. I didn't have to stay here, but I chose to, like many of you have. And we have a fantastic community of excellent people. But again, oftentimes people speak on things with emotion as opposed to necessarily information. And that's when things get kind of mixed around. And then blame usually falls to elected officials. And you have a very difficult job. I commend you. I pray for you. And I just want to encourage you. Continue to look at the facts of the situation, make decisions based on what you feel is best. And I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mayor and Commission. My name is Scott Berry, Raton resident, business owner. I'm a civil engineer here in Raton, and I haven't been to one of these city commission meetings in a couple of years. And before that, between that time and 1986, I've been to 1,000 of them, and I can tell you that they're a lot funner sitting in the back of the room than they are sitting up there. I've followed some of the conversation on the data center. I want to make some comments. Like Mr. McGowan said, I can't really say I'm in favor of the data center. What I'm in favor of is let's get all of the information about the data center and make an informed decision. And don't arrive at any conclusions until we have the facts. I don't know whether I'm in favor of it or not, because there's no information really out there yet. So I'm waiting to see what the information is. However, I've heard bad things about data centers, and I do want to offer a little different perspective here tonight. So a few years ago, I was the president-elect of the New Mexico City Managers Association. And the president at that time was Greg Martin. He is the city manager in Los Lunas. Greg made a presentation to the group about Facebook data center that was constructed in Los Lunas. And generally, Greg reported very positive impacts to Los Lunas from the construction of this data center. I printed off a few notes, so I'll try to be succinct in this. All of this information is easy to find online. I found it very quickly, but I talked to Greg at some length about it back then. This is some current information. One of the statements I read, one of the most notable economic development in Los Lunas is the establishment of a Facebook data center, which brought significant investment and job creation to the area. Also, talking about the data center, this facility has brought major economic growth to the village, contributing to job creation and infrastructure improvements. Real quickly on the Facebook, and this is the huge Meta data center, millions of square feet of data. So we may not be talking about something comparable to what you all are looking at. Let's find out what we're talking about. This center has created 400 jobs in Los Lunas. Those are not construction jobs. Those are permanent jobs at the center. The project is a substantial economic boost to the village of Los Lunas, contributing over $145 million in gross receipts tax revenue. That's by 2024, and stimulating local population growth. In effect, this has also acted as a catalyst for other private investment. So things that have followed the data center in Los Lunas, a Walmart distribution center, that created hundreds of jobs, an Amazon fulfillment center, about 600 jobs. Wall Colmany, that's a company that is a global materials engineering group that specializes in the development and manufacture of high-performance alloys and precision engineered components. Niagara Bottling has located in Los Lunas, and they have a new project coming up, a manufacturing site for Pacific Fusion. Pacific Fusion is a clean energy startup founded in 2023. One more thing, following the Facebook, they did open a new University of New Mexico Workforce Training Center. This is a unique 19,000 square foot facility that accommodates classrooms, computer labs, a vocational lab, small business development office, and tutoring areas in Los Lunas. One article, which I had sent to you all, mentioned the gravitational pull of this data center. About $2 billion has been invested just in the data center, and this has really turned Los Lunas around. So all I'm saying here is that there's two sides to every story. There can be some positive outlook on it. We've heard the negatives so far, but let's look at all of the facts. And I would just ask the commission, I know you're a ways away from getting those facts and making any kind of a decision, but I think that the responsibility of sitting up there, you keep an open mind about this, and you make a decision that is in the best long-term interest of the community of Raton. And it takes all of the facts to do that. Thank you, Mayor and Commission.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to speak on this side?
Sorry, one more time. To what Mr. Berry, to his point, the key difference for Los Lunas is that Meta purchased an enormous parcel away from residents. They were very adamant about that, and they have put in infrastructure for their own buildings and made provisions for their phases, phase 1 through phase 3. And so the impact to Los Lunas residents has been minimal, and it has been very, very attractive for other businesses. But that's the key thing that they did that was really positive, is that they made sure that they found plenty of land and they were able to build out their own infrastructure where they didn't impact the residents. So, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on. Is there anyone wishing to give public input at this time about something that's not related to the MOU with Aderix that's here for a different topic. All right. Thank you. I appreciate everyone's comments. I appreciate everyone's decorum. I really appreciate you being here. The floor is now closed for comments from citizens present. I will now allow the commissioners and city manager to comment if desired. Again, there's no back and forth conversation. This is just a chance for commissioners to comment. Since we usually don't get a chance, I thought tonight would be a good night. Commissioner Hoker?
I have nothing at this time.
Thank you. Commissioner, oh my gosh. Commissioner Campbell, sorry, lots on my mind right now. I didn't have it written down.
I guess I have a short statement. I guess most people are aware I've worked for the water utility and until I retired about 5 years ago for almost 30 years. Of quite good knowledge of the RPS and Raton Waterworks, the two franchise utilities, which no matter how we do this and it comes in and looks at the facts, they will independently look at what's done on each side. The Waterworks and myself, today and forever, have always fought and protected Raton's water quality and quantity. I can tell you right now, it's not going to be any different today. For me personally, ever will be. I am not operating in stealth mode. We're trying to put the facts together of what we can get and keep an open mind about this. When I ran for office, we were talking about trying to do an open mind toward business. I would hope that anything that comes in here and wants to bring outside investment to this community, that we would be courteous and listen and make our decision based on what they bring forward and not make a decision otherwise. I completely respect anybody's right to be against data centers, but I will say, we actually have two utilities that make that decision. We actually use, Jason and I've had this discussion and stuff, probably close to 500,000 to 750,000 gallons a month on grass through the summer. We use 400,000 gallons almost a night on the golf course and reclaim. That's going on, and we have plenty of water for that. It's monitored closely. We make sure it's taken care of. We actually have a full lake of Lake Maloya, full storage in Eagles Nest coming out of a winter drought. Eagles Nest, the city of Raton, holds 3 Lake Maloyas in storage in that, and groundwater rights, which we've never used out of Capulet. All of those will be protected. I could say as long as I'm alive in here, it's been a focus of my life for the last 30 years. It's never going to change. That's going to be in mind to where the last thing we want to do is start the rumor mill that we have a water problem, which some other towns in this state do, and stop other people that may want to come here for even other projects based on false information. We went through a fire over a decade ago, came out of that due to the efforts of a whole lot of the public that came through it. All those efforts were actually focus of this, the commission and the two franchises. There's been decisions for the last 50 years that acquired these water rights where we were thinking way ahead of a lot of other communities. Out of all of those years, none of that's getting ignored. It's not going to be given away.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Schuster?
I do have something. I just wanted to say, in the very beginning, I was very opposed to this, very opposed. But on the other hand, there's, when a private business wants to come to town and buying private property, we cannot stop that. But what we can do, and what I'm proud to say is happening, is that we can put in place good regulations. We have a lot of good regulations. Our water is very well regulated. The state has good regulations that we follow. Our power company is working well. They know what they have. They know what they can produce. One of the main concerns that we're a little shy on working on, but on the other hand, we're working on it, is the sound pollution. That is a concern. And here's the lucky thing. We're not the first community to deal with this. So I'm fortunate enough to have a son-in-law who is the director of the Environmental Department of Weld County, Colorado. It's the biggest county in Colorado, and they're dealing with these data centers coming up to their area. And they have also worked on, ahead of us, regulations, and I was able to acquire a very good
sound pollution control suggestions that we can look at. I was also very pleased to walk in the other day, and I found the city manager as well as the public works director on a web call where they were learning how to deal with and what's the appropriate thing, what do we need to look at, what kind of regulations do we need to tighten up, what can we do? Because obviously we all are concerned. That's why we're really happy to see so many concerned citizens. We have natural resources we want to protect, and I feel like we have a team here who is actually working on protecting those natural resources. We can come up with those regulations and tighten up what we've got to make it work so that we can have the benefits of it, of different companies coming in while protecting our wildlife, our natural resources, and the quality and safety of our population. So I just want to tell you that, you know, I know how you're feeling. I've listened to all those, I've read all those reports, I've seen all those things out there that are published against them and how awful they can be. But like I said, we're not the first ones to deal with that. North Dakota is working hard at dealing with and they're having good success in managing all the types of pollution, including sound and thermal and air pollution that these types of companies bring in. So if North Dakota can do it, if Weld County, Colorado can do it, so can we. And I think we're really working hard to get there. And I'm proud of us.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mayor Pro Tem Honeyfield, would you like to make any comments?
Madam Mayor, if I can read just a couple of sentences out of the MOU that we did approve.
Yes, and if you'll be as loud as possible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Most times I can't hear him.
My wife says the same thing. Anyway, there's, on the first page, under the paragraph number 3, non-binding intent. The contract states it does not create a legally binding contract to proceed with the project or to consummate any transaction. Okay? And I'll say it again, we don't know what we don't know. Until these people come up with whatever they're wanting to create, then we can make a determination of, yes, it's a good fit, or no, it's not a good fit. But with trying to imagine what they might be doing, that's like me trying to second guess my wife. It hasn't happened in 30 years. I don't foresee me being able to develop that kind of intellect. Furthermore, if we go on down to the next page, feasibility report. This is where they indicate they prepare at their expense a feasibility report and preliminary engineering design regarding the 3 phases they listed in here. But the report will evaluate on a non-binding and illustrative basis potential community and economic impacts, including job creation, property, reuse, tax base expansion, and alignment with targeted industries, and outline example incentive structures and partnership models for the parties' consideration. Here again, emphasis on parties' consideration. We're not saying we're for this, but here again, we don't know what we don't know. They will present their feasibility study to us, and as Commissioner Campbell alluded to, then we can make a determination of, yes, it'll fit within our resource limit or not. Okay? And then lastly, there was one more. Okay, continuing on, it says, nothing herein grants, guarantees, or obligates either party to agree to any particular incentive, economic participation right, ownership interest, or financial benefit or limits the city's discretion to approve, modify, or reject any such structure. Here again, we're not at that point to make that decision. Okay, like I said, this is what we approved, was this document with those insurances in it. So, like I said, we just need to wait until they get their feasibility study done. Then we can make an educated decision as to what's gonna be presented to us.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Mr. Sagata, would you like to make any comments at this time?
Madam Mayor and Commission, you guys have stated it pretty eloquently. I'm going to go take a page, though, from the old Scott Berry School of Speeches and remind everybody of our background here in Raton. We started off as a coal mine community. Back in those days, my great-grandfather worked in these coal mines. He went to work with a pick, shovel, and a canary. And they hoped and prayed to God they got at least a ton a day. That was their goal, a ton a day. When the mine shut down and Mr. Barry and I had to come, for some reason, come to the city and help out here, they were producing over 25,000 tons a day. A day. Technology evolves. In my studies on the data centers that I've been doing, the technology is evolving. It is changing almost daily. Most of your construction now consists of closed water systems in these, to where they're using less water than a typical neighborhood. And as Mr. Campbell pointed out, we need to invite all kinds of business into our community. It may not fit. I'm not saying I am all for this. Let's go for it. We will evaluate everything, take a look, and make a decision. I won't make the decision. These 5 will make the decision, and we'll move from there. But we've got to remain open-minded.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Thank you, Commissioners. I do want to make a statement as well. First of all, I really do appreciate everyone being here tonight, and I again invite you to contact me directly if you want to sit down and I don't know that I have answers to every single question, but that's part of this process, and so it's good for me to have your questions so that I can understand them and do some research on them as well. I do my own research very diligently. I've read article presented by the group, many other articles I've found. I plan to watch the workshop that was recently there. I just have been traveling, so I'm about to catch up on a lot of things. But I just want you to know that my vision for this community has always been the same. It has never changed, that I want all of our children, but particularly my children, to want to raise their families here, because I don't want to move somewhere else. And if I have a bunch of grandkids in one other place, it's going to be pretty tempting. So I want them to be here. I want them to have clean water, clean air, good, fair priced electricity, all those things. So it's important to me, whatever happens with this feasibility study, that those things are met, that we respect our environment. And that is in the MOU. It talks about this MOU does not represent an endorsement of any particular technology model, vendor, or future agreement, but rather reflects a shared willingness to evaluate whether an advanced digital infrastructure project can be structured in a manner that is financially prudent, environmentally responsible, and beneficial to the residents of Raton and the surrounding region. Those things are very important to me. Sometimes we get accused of being dishonest or other things like that, and I find that very unfair, especially if you haven't sat down with me and talked to me. I've been working with most of these people for years, and no one is here to get rich, make money, things like that. We're here to do the best we can and serve our city and for the long-term interest of Raton. And that is what is valuable to me. I think I'm going to skip some of my other remarks and just say I've watched a lot of, I've monitored a little. I try to stay off of social media. But I've watched recently, and I just had more than I've seen, but just people coming to tell me constantly, and just a breezy look at Facebook. There is a lot of antagonism. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of emotion. There are a lot of things that are hurting our town. And that hurts me because I feel like we're not all, and myself included, being careful before we click. So I just want to invite everyone who's here tonight, like I said, myself included, our friends online, to just think before you click, because we're creating an atmosphere of contention instead of an atmosphere of moving forward together. Not everything in this room, but not just this issue, just other things that face our community. We can make a huge impact, any of us in our day, positively or negatively. We make ripples in our lives, and we can be the good. We can do that, and that's important to me. We live in a world that's polarized in every place, and the thing to me that really combats that is one-on-one conversations with listeners on both sides. And that's also another way that we can be the good. I've seen this community unite in times of trial. During the fires and the floods, it is incredible what Raton can do. I'll get emotional. We have an incredible community, incredible staff, incredible, thankfully safe members of RPS today. And please pray for everyone on Thursday. This is not an easy project. This is a very dangerous project that we're moving forward on to make sure that we have this energy continuing here and don't have a massive power outage for multiple weeks or days. I love my neighbors in my community. I try to do service for them. I invite us all to do that in our own neighborhoods. That's how we build our community. That's how we build up the love and the positivity that we need in this town. Maybe we can't pull weeds or shovel snow, but maybe we can bake a loaf of bread. Maybe we can just smile. Maybe we can say hello to our neighbors. And start there. Start in your own heart, in your own home, in your own neighborhood, and it comes out from there. And that is just my comment, not on this issue only, which I feel, we have some time to study this and figure this out. I don't want to make a decision that's bad for the future of our town, for the future of our children, for anyone who's, retired here. I appreciate that very much. I'm looking at our retirees, but I also really want to look at 50 years down the road, what we look like. Our water history is a great example. Those people had courage and weren't always appreciated in the decisions they made about our water infrastructure. And so that's really important moving forward. So I invite us all, Raton, to just be the good in each other's lives and to try to change and be a little bit more positive. And thank you for being here. And with that, if you would like to stay for the rest of the meeting, you are more than welcome. However, we're going to really move into the business portion. Thank you.
May I make one comment, please?
Commissioner Hover?
I just want to ask, since several of you mentioned that we would be receiving information from Atterix, as you get information, would you share it with all of the commissioners and possibly with the public too?
I personally haven't received any further information.
When you do. Yeah.
Mr. Sagata, I will turn that over to you.
Madam Mayor, we have not received any information from them.
Right, but as we go forward, if you could share with all of the commissioners and possibly the public.
Definitely.
Okay.
Okay, we will go ahead and move on to the action items on our agenda. Do you need a recess? We'll take a quick recess for 5 minutes. Yes.
Outside of school, actually, all the way down.
When I started, I had something. I was
You
like,
got married there.
I gotta go off script here. Maybe I'll run to that.
Should watch out for my presentation.
I understand. Yeah, I think at some point it would be good to We good to go? Marty, are we back up? Okay, thank you. We will resume our meeting and section 6, action items. A, deliberate and act on approval of February 24th, 2026 regular meeting minutes. Are there any comments or corrections from the commission on the minutes?
I'll move they be approved as presented.
I second.
I have a motion and second for item A, the approval of the February 24th minutes. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Item B, presentation by Economic Advisor Ann Tice and Community and Economic Development Director Cynthia Molina. Mr. Sagata, anything to say before we get started?
Mayor and Commission, first up is a presentation from our Community and Economic Development Director, Cynthia Molina, and Economic Advisor Ann Tice. Ladies, the floor is yours.
Thank you. All right, Mayor, Commission, thank you for giving us some time today to talk about the economic development that we've been working on in the community.
We are really committed to making sure that the way that the economy evolves assures business retention and expansion for our existing businesses, supports them with succession planning so that generationally we have handoffs, and also creates an environment that's conducive to new residents, that protects existing residents, and pulls people off the freeway to enjoy our community.
Get to the punchline. All right, so basically the reason this survey started was because we were talking about 2026 and we wanted to know, like, should we keep doing the core meetings? Like, I've been doing the core business mixers for 2 years, was debating whether I should do them, and so we decided to just take it to the community and turn it into a full business survey. So the purpose really, although it started with that, became about listening to the local business, seeing from them what they need, how we can help them, how we can best support them. Because through the core meetings, through the Economic Development Summit, you know, we see some people engaging and a whole lot of others not engaging. So we wanted to see if we could cast the net a little bit wider and figure out how we could reach more people. So the method is that we emailed all the businesses that had a Raton business registration or had previously attended a core meeting, so I had their contact information. So that was out for about 3 weeks, and then I sent it out to Facebook and put it on the community page. There are some good purposes for that positive things that happen on that page, and we got a lot more responses there and a lot of people that we hadn't engaged with previously, which was great. So this page here you guys have in your packet is really just an executive summary, so just a quick glance at it. But really I'm gonna just kind of go into things in detail. So first, who responded? Top sectors, you know, we had a great cross-section of businesses from, you know, retail, restaurant, hospitality, lodging, healthcare, even the construction and professional services. So it was a good representative of different kinds of businesses in the community. And operating tenure, surprisingly, a lot of people, they've been over 10 years. So we had a lot of longstanding business owners that participated, and then some newer ones as well. Employer size, surprising here was that there's a lot of sole proprietors. A lot of people saying that they have 0 employees, that they're basically owner-operators. And then small businesses, 1 to 5. So very few. We did have like 1 or 2 that had, you know, between 25 and 50 employees. So the good cross-section still, but heavily represented by sole proprietors. One of the questions we asked them was, how do you self-assess your business health? And they got a 1 to 10 rating, and the average of that was 6.8. So not bad, you know, not great, but not terrible. And, you know, if you're looking at a net promoter score, so this is kind of taking promoters and subtracting the detractors, and that's on a 100 scale, and that brings it down a little bit below 0, if you like looking at the net promoter scores. Top challenges. So they were asked to pick 3 from a pretty good list of possible challenges that they might have that we've heard about. And, far and away, the biggest takeaway from this is the majority of problems are around front door issues, getting customers in the door, not having enough customers, having such huge swings in the seasonality and having tourists coming through, and their visibility. So it's largely a marketing issue, and an ability to get people in their front door. But also that capital, getting capital to improve their businesses, to sustain or to expand their businesses is challenging, and workforce also is a meaningful barrier for them. They have a hard time retaining employees or having the money to train new employees. And then we ask them, so what help do you want and how do you want it? So again, overall, it was in the marketing category. People want help with storefront improvements. We all see it. We all know that our storefronts need to be improved. Signage improvement. It's really hard when you're just traveling down I-25 to know what a gem of a downtown we have. We need to make that visible. We need to let them know the businesses are down there somehow. And again, accessing loans, grants, marketing help, B2B matchmaking, hiring support, and coaching. And then we asked them what are the preferred formats. So this was short online webinars, okay? So instead of the core approach, which was like a monthly mixer, maybe trying just doing some of the recordings. Cynthia and I have already come up with a list of recordings based on some of these support needs that they have. Or having a short work time lunch shops, or having some recorded part two, and then also doing the mixers and the roundtables and some one-on-one office hours. And also we had 15, we asked people, do you want follow-up support? So 41% requested that. I've already reached out to every single person, offering them help, offering resources, connecting them with both of us. And that was completed, and we've had probably about 30% respond so far. And then one of the last ones I'm going to go through is this local events and their impact. So we also wanted to understand, how did businesses feel about the events that were being held? And so we had a range of things, like I obviously wanted to know about the core meetings, the Economic Development Summit, and then some of our standing events that we have every year. So it's kind of probably hard to tell, but so the orange essentially means, the more orange, it's the more people that either attended or wanted to be a vendor. The gray is they wish they could have attended, but for some reason they couldn't. And then the blue is like they don't really see their relevance for their business. So, and that's, there could just be a mismatch in terms of the event with the type of business. But I think some takeaways are the core meetings were appreciated, the summit's appreciated, but many couldn't attend. The Gate City Music Festival is very popular. It was the most well-liked, well-attended event. And the Supercross and the Vermejo charcoal burner are not very well known, or they don't see an impact to their business. So there's an opportunity there for those event coordinators to market more with some of our local businesses and try to get them involved. So last slide, some planning and decisions. So what do we do with this information? We don't want to just take the information and then not make some meaningful change out of it. Otherwise, that's how people get frustrated, right? So we trying to keep in mind key principles for growth. We have a highway here that has a lot of people going by it. We need to capture. There's existing demand that's not being captured. We need to figure out how to capture that. That starts with visibility, which is what the businesses complained about. So we need to figure out how to get more signage, and how to make sure every business is online, so that if they're not looking up, that they're finding it on their Google Maps or any searches that they're doing online for where do I get a cup of coffee or whatever. Give them a reason to stop. And then, you know, when people stop, they like the town, they'll come back, right? And then we can attract new residents. And so we need to have housing. We need to have building a pipeline to support that workforce and investment and attract the new residents, industry, and retail. So the recommended 90-day plan, we want to just kind of, let's get all the businesses connected. We're going to be talking to everybody. So we have started doing monthly office hours. So every first Tuesday of the month from 4 until 6, Cynthia and I will be at the Raton Tourist Information Center. Anybody can walk in to talk about anything related to their business, economic development, community development. So you come to us. And then we're going to do bi-monthly walk and talks. And we're doing them bi-monthly because we found out how long it takes. We had 2 hours last week, and we made it to 3 businesses because we never talked to them before. I had never met these businesses before, and I was like, wow, this is great. Learn the history. What do you need? Here's things that we can do to help you. Here's, you know, what we're trying to do. And what are your ideas, you know? So that was great. It just takes a while. And then we're going to start offering the webinars, how-to videos. And I have a QR code there if anybody's interested, because those are a playlist of all the core meetings that we've done for the last 2 years. So there's a lot of, you know, how to use AI, how to do a website, how to do financials. There's a lot of great information up there already. So we'll just keep expanding on those and make more simple webinars to go along with that. So let's get 100% of our businesses more skills. And then let's launch a business visibility customer capture sprint. Like, let's get everybody online. Let's either get everyone a website or get everyone a web page. Let's get them Google profiles, business profiles, all of those things. So what we're asking of the commission is, one, just to, you know, acknowledge and reference this plan in terms of your communication, that we do have a plan, we're moving forward. To consider authorizing funding for signage. I have a lead on a grant right now that I'm been talking with the interim city manager about, and authorize funding for online presence. And then consider identifying 1 to 2 near-term barriers that the city could do to ease things that would make it easier for them to improve their own storefronts or improve signage. We have a lot of businesses that have banners instead of proper looking signs. So what can we do? What's the barrier there? And is there any way we could ease that? I think that those would be helpful. Do you want to add anything in terms of how this fits into the big picture?
Sure. So when we're approaching these issues, we take a bimodal approach. We do certain things that give immediate lift and wins for organizations. And at the same time, we create a long-term vision that we think everybody would buy in the city. And so we are, on our long-term vision, trying to attract organizations and retain organizations that are improving the well-being of our community, the productive capacity of our community, and the socioeconomic status of our community. So everything we're doing, we put through that filter to make sure if it's not supporting that, we're not moving forward with it. And on the other side, there are sort of ideal things we could do, but we can't afford them yet. So we need to take action in the areas we can afford to try to create lift for the existing businesses. And that's lift in brand awareness, lift in revenue, lift in operating efficiencies, lift in earnings growth, lift in competitiveness. We have figures like 5,000 people going in one direction on I-25, 4,800 in another every day, more than 679,000 visits to our McDonald's every year. It is unconscionable that we cannot get those people into the downtown area and to our businesses.
So, yeah, so that's the presentation. We'll stand for any questions.
Does anyone in the commission have a question, comment? Commissioner Hoger?
What kind of signage do you envision outside of town?
I mean, my dream, or our dream, would be a big LED billboard that we can actually put whatever content we want on there. We could put, you know, all the different businesses. We could put events. We could even live stream football games or the music festival to draw people. I mean, that would, I mean, it's like a big screen, right? And it sounds crazy, it's expensive, but that would get people's attention, and that would allow us, instead of just buying one, whatever $10,000 billboard that you're stuck with for a year or 2 years, 3 years, it'd be nice to have something that you can actually just change out. And we do see, that, the thinking about where to put it would be the big thing, right? Because we know we have our tool Placer AI, and we can see where the main traffic is coming from, and it's coming from Texas. It's coming from Clayton and to Colorado, not south of it.
We're also looking at digital wayfinder kiosks, so we've already gotten quotes on these solutions. So that's another solution, is to put these gorgeous wayfinders that allow for touch and announce what's going on in town, a centralized calendar. Again, it's relatively expensive. And then in terms of billboards, you've probably seen in other states that there are billboards that have little turning mechanisms, so the billboard changes and that catches attention. So there are a whole lot of empty billboards coming up and going down, and if we can get some of that technology, that would be helpful too.
Other comments or questions? I just am curious. I know that I think these are great plans, and thank you. This is a survey that I feel like is a really good use of the time and resources of the city. So thank you for all the work you've done on this. Sometimes I jump in my brain and forget to say thank you, so thank you. As we're talking about, I love the 90-day plan. As we're talking about funding for these different things, how does that work with anti-donation? Because we can't give a business money to improve their sign. Are you thinking that the city uses a third party to do grant, put some money into a program that people could have grant, kind of like the Main Street Facade Squad did, something like that? Because I know we can't give a business money to do a sign or something like that.
Well, my thought, and I haven't haven't created a plan around it, would be to sell ads on that to community and make it affordable, nothing that's expensive, but way cheaper than any of the other billboards. And I don't know where the line crosses with the anti-donation clause in that, but if you could sell ads there,
on the
digital billboard, so then it's not I heard one business that said they spent $35,000 on 4 billboards, and so if we could charge just a fraction of that, we could help pay back some of the cost of that billboard or the maintenance of it. And make it easier for people to advertise on that.
And are you picturing that? I just know with NMDOT, there's all kinds of signage regulations. Is this something that would go outside of town? You're thinking on 8764 out that way?
Yeah, we'd have to.
That's the dream.
Yeah, I think it would. Yeah, it's hard too, because the dream would be the Clayton Road, I think, coming into Raton, but the problem is we don't know where the alignment study. We don't know is that the best place for it. So I don't know. Maybe it's coming from Colorado. It's south I-25 before Clayton Road. But I don't know if that could be in terms of regulations, we'd have to look at where it could be.
And we're not above low tech solutions. We've seen some.
I am.
We've seen some folks hanging banners or having paintings on the side of trucks, and if that works, great. Or let's do more of it in a way that's appealing and that gets folks off the freeway or interstate.
Did you have a comment?
Well, Wall, South Dakota, have you all heard of that? Did low tech and became very successful.
Low tech can be good.
Yeah, they just put small signs every 15 miles and from Minneapolis to Wall. Stop at Wall, free water, coffee. And people went and stopped and they now have a beautiful art gallery and it's not a huge town, but people stop there.
I really love the idea of the online presence too, because I feel like so much of maybe not my generation, but maybe just a little bit, I'm kind of like on the edge, I don't know, but we're on our phones, you know, checking everything. I'm not looking at billboards as much as I probably did even 10 years ago, because now I'm just so focused on my apps and maps and stuff. So I think that's super important. I love the goal of 100% of businesses online to have that presence. I think that speaks volumes. Very much appreciate your work, ladies. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Did you have any luck contacting any of the manufacturers?
Some of the big.
Yeah, somebody
employees,
did.
right?
I think one of the door, I think it was it Home Metal Doors? It was one of the, I think it was, that was down there. There wasn't, yeah.
And we have had extensive conversations with others of the manufacturers in town before, so we really appreciate them. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item C, deliberate and act on event forms. We'll start with the Cinco de Mayo, May 2nd through 3rd, 2026 at Ripley Park by Carmen and Carmelita Martinez. Mr. Sagata.
Mayor and Commission, before you is the application for an event for the Cinco de Mayo celebration. This will be their 3rd annual. Ms. Martinez could not be here this evening, but everything seems to be in order, and I would recommend approval.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission?
I would move to approve the Cinco de Mayo, May 2nd through 3rd, 2026, Ripley Park by Carmen and Carmelita Martinez.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the Cinco de Mayo event forum. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And the second item, Sun Valley Rides Carnival, June 12th through 14th, 2026 by Raton Main Street. Mr. Scotta.
Mayor and Commission, before you is the annual carnival event that usually takes place in the high school parking lot. Again, all forms are here. We'll do a site review prior to the event. Right now it's a little tough to do because of school going on, but that will be conducted prior to the event, but I would recommend approval.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission?
Mr. Manager, they've used that site how many years in a row? It's been 4 or 5 at least.
At least, yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking close to 10.
10,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
I would entertain a
We
motion.
do have Patricia here. She could probably.
Oh, sorry,
Answer
Patricia.
the question.
Thank you.
I just wanted to officially introduce myself as the new executive director for Raton Main Street. We appreciate any help and work that we do with the city. You guys have been a great partner to us. This carnival has been a great event that we host for our families. It also, last year, I think it coincided with the Little League All-Star, so it was really great, really well attended. A lot of the kiddos posted TikToks of it, so it's a great event for everyone. So
Thank you, Patricia.
oh, do I know how long? I don't know, since I was a kid.
Been a while.
It's not very long.
For Patricia, it hasn't happened yet.
But thank you.
I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve Sun Valley Rides Carnival, June 12 to 14 by Raton Main Street.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the Sun Valley Rides Carnival event form. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Raton Little League opening ceremonies, April 18th, 2026. Mr. Sagata.
Mayor and Commission, before you is a form for the opening ceremonies of Raton Little League. They've asked for a couple of road closures as we've done in the past for this. It's always great to see the kids out there in their uniforms on that first day and lined up and everything. I believe we do have someone here from the Little League if she'd like to address us, but the city would recommend approval of this.
Happy to answer any questions. We are excited to kick off our season this year. We have 240 kids registered so far. Late registration is open through Friday, so if there are still kids that want to get registered, we do have it open through Friday, and then draft and skills day on Sundays. Excellent. All kids, all teams will play on opening ceremonies, so it's going to be a busy day. We'll have the fire truck come in and hoist up the flag for us again this year, and we do plan to have food trucks as well, which is why we're asking for the streets to be closed down this year to support all the kiddos running around and traffic that will be down there.
Excellent. You want to stay up? I think you're the next item as well. Any further comments, questions, or discussion on this item?
I will move to approve the Raton Little League opening ceremonies, April 18th, 2026. Event 1.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the Raton Little League opening ceremonies event form. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D, deliberate and act on MOU between the City of Raton and the Raton Little League for the 2026 season. Mr. Sagata, if you want to start us out.
Mayor and Commission, before you use an MOU between the City of Raton and Raton Little League, it is the standard MOU that we've had with them for several years. And we have Hillary here to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from the commission?
I would also say we have Mr. Phillips if you have any questions for Mr. Phillips.
Thank you for doing it.
Yes, this is a big thing and we very much appreciate it.
Yeah, I do want to say something. I want to say thank you to Jason and his team. We hosted All Stars the last 2 years here in Raton, and we had between softball All Stars, baseball All Stars, about 45 teams from 9 different cities coming in and joining us for that 2-week time period. We had over 60 volunteers just on our side. That's not even counting Jason's team that he brought down there. That's not counting fire, police department, the state patrol that were helping out, and EMTs that were down there as well. So we could not have done it without Jason and his team helping us out down there. So thank you guys for your support. It was really great.
Thank you, and I'm sorry we didn't get the mosquitoes contract in time to spray the field. Because, oh my gosh, I know you guys were getting eaten up a little bit.
It was, you know what? We were moving around so much, I don't think very many people noticed. So.
Luckily, we have a drought this year, so.
Yeah, so I don't have to worry
Luckily.
about it. Yeah.
So, Mayor and Commission, we do have a few minor revisions to the MOU. We've taken on a few responsibilities that we've kind of done off the books in the past, but Hillary and their group are struggling to find volunteers. And my first pitch would be to shamelessly plug that 240 kids right now, they're probably talking volunteers in the dozens. And it's kind of incumbent upon all of us to be part of this community to participate in things like Little League. I mean, they're out there doing it for our kids. Hillary has no skin in the game and she's busting her butt every day. And if you have a child, a grandchild, a niece, nephew, I mean, that's true community service, you know, and you don't have to be the umpire that everybody yells at, but just assisting in some meaningful way, concession stand, you know, it's kind of the same group of people carry these organizations. And I joke that I did a 10-year sentence in Little League because I had softball girls, and it feels that way. The few people that commit to this live at the ball fields every night, and it creates burnout on the board and volunteers, and it's a lot easier to spread that load amongst more people. So I'd make a plea to anyone listening tonight to help these folks out because they do a great job. All-Stars had a tremendous economic benefit to Raton the last couple of years, and we're happy to kind of help fill the void. So we've added a little more cleaning responsibilities. We've got a bunch of restrooms. We're set up for a large tournament. Opening ceremonies, we're going to open them all. After that, we're going to kind of scale back, have a couple open. They'll throw some trash as my guys will come by 1 or 2 times a week, try to keep them clean. You know, we've invested a lot of money in, and we don't want to overtax them either. So, you know, even though you hear me complain all the time, I'm understaffed, we're behind, this is worth diverting resources to. So we're going to do that for the bulk of the summer. The past Little League board and the current board have been really successful at carrying their side of this partnership. They've put some new scoreboards in place. They bought portable pitching mounts. So now what fields used to be exclusive to baseball can now be used for girls softball at the same time by sliding a mound off the field. And in this MOU, we kind of address their investment and how if this partnership, knock on wood, were to ever dissolve, they've got assets that would need to be spoken for that we didn't pay for. So you'll see kind of a prorated schedule on things that they purchased, scoreboards that cost $8,000, pitching mounds that belong to them that, believe it or not, portable pitching mounts cost thousands of dollars as well. So we're just kind of in this MOU acknowledging that they've got some investment in this thing, and if we were to part ways, we'd ask for the opportunity to maybe purchase the scoreboards, but if we couldn't come to a reasonable conclusion, I acknowledge they're not ours and that we would replace them, you know, in some form or fashion. I don't see it coming to that, but, you know, it's just, they have accounting purposes as a nonprofit and a charter and things they need to address, and Hillary pointed it out, so I'm in agreement with it. If she likes the changes as is, we were kind of going back and forth on it. We would recommend approval, and we'll, do our best to help each other make this great season.
I'm glad that's included in there. That is a wonderful additions to the fields that you guys have really just come forward to make that awesome and shine. And it's been really exciting to have the All-Stars the past few years. Appreciate that. I can imagine the workload for everyone. Yeah,
It's a lot.
it's a lot. Thank you.
Thank Little League for all they do.
I noticed on the front, and maybe this is fixed on the one I'm gonna sign, but it has March 5th on there. During its regular meeting on March 5th. It should be.
Oh,
the
yeah,
10th.
we bumped around a little.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, it's supposed to be March 5th for their meeting, so.
Oh, okay,
I
and
will
then we're
change
the,
that.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably on Jason. I was
Okay,
supposed to
okay,
get
so
some
their
stuff
meeting
back
was
and
March
forth,
5th,
yeah.
okay. Just on the.
That's the draft.
It's the draft. Just want to make sure we have it
My
right.
version's highlighted.
Looks like they put the date on the wrong one.
On the wrong line.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
perfect.
correct that.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the commission? Would entertain a motion on item D.
I recommend approval of the MOU between the City of Raton and the Raton Little League for the 2026 season.
I have a motion and a second to approve the MOU between the city and the Raton Little League for 2026. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Coming up.
All right. Item E, delivered and act on Resolution 2026-13, application for fiscal year 26-27 Municipal Arterial Program, MAP, funding to NMDOT District 4. Mr. Scotta, I'm assuming Mr. Phillips is going to speak.
Mayor and Commission, Mr. Phillips will be presenting. This is a MAP project that addresses a chip seal, fog seal project on North 4th and North 1st Street. Total cost of this grant would be $420,000. The city share would be $105,000, which would come from the gas tax, and Mr. Phillips is here for questions.
The Mayor and Commission, this is similar to an application that we put together last year for the MAP program that we were not awarded. The logic behind it is pretty simple. We've done a lot of work chip sealing on west side streets, but we've got a section of 4th Street that's kind of not been in the project so far, that it would be useful to apply a chip seal surface to. North 1st Street is a lot of asphalt, and it is going to be very expensive someday to reconstruct. The hope is with the chip seal workhorse, we get 10 or 15 years down the road, hopefully always looking to better economic times and higher gas tax to try and do a full reconstruction. We've got some utility repairs near the bridge on North 1st Street that I'd like to saw cut out and get a little cleaner repair on, and then a double seal, chip seal on top of it. Usually we're in line for an MAP about every 3rd year. Right now we are sitting on North Underpass, which is an MAP that's in construction, so it may not be our turn yet, but we're gonna put in an application and hope for the best.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Mr. Phillips?
So in here, so it would be all of South 4th or all of 4th Street, South and North?
Not all of South 4th. It's, I believe it's mostly confined to north side of the junior high, a couple blocks, and our last chip seal tie-in is, I believe, at Legion, or maybe we made it to Cimarron, somewhere where the natural tie-in is there. And North 1st Street will start right past the cement at Plaza and go all the way up to the filter plant.
So North 1st is all the way up?
All the way up.
Okay. Jason, just for members of the public that might not understand, what makes a good project for chip sealing? Just because I know some people are concerned because their street doesn't get the attention that they would like.
Some streets are past chip sealing. A high degree of alligator cracking that's indicative of subsurface failure is usually reconstruction. Remove all the asphalt, get down into the base. If you're looking at anything that was Special Assessment District 18, some genius removed base course entirely from that project. Those streets were paved on native soils, and the only way that I can see to get those back is completely remove asphalt, excavate subgrade down to 6 or 8 inches, probably treat the subgrade and come back up with base course. And that I put a TPF together for 3 SAD or 18 streets. A couple years ago, that project was somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.2 million for 3 streets, and we probably have 30 SAD 18 streets. So when you get a hit 300,000, you're trying to get something that's in a little better shape. It hasn't gone that far. We've had really good luck on some bad avenues with the polymerized asphalt, and chip seal kind of penetrates cracks. It gives you a little more than the 10 years that you need, and it's higher priority. MAP program is designed, you have to sell a tie-in to a DOT street of reducing traffic. So if you're parallel to 2nd Street, if you're connecting, in this case, you know, you have the I-25 business loop that we're paralleling with the 4th Street, and we're diverting traffic off of what would be Highway 72 or the I-25 business loop. Those are kind of where they go. And so Cedar Street has that same cross connection between 87 and 2nd Street. Grant Avenue has been an MAP. Hospital Drive has been an MAP. Tiger Drive has been an MAP, and most recently the underpass is an MAP. You're not really as strong as an application when you don't have some way to tie in. And I'll be honest, we get a little creative with the tie-in from time to time. That's just what grant writing looks like. But some neighborhoods it would be an easy sell against. The co-op that's coming up next, just to preview, the next item is mostly for material. Crack sealing, basic pavement maintenance. We could do 100,000 of it every year and it'd be worth every penny. And some base course for the alleys and a stockpile of cold mix. If you remember, this sounds a lot like last year's application that was funded. It is, but I had to borrow that grant to take it to the small bridge project to make us able to create that. So this is kind of to backfill that material. And a lot of it is in advance of future projects that we're doing. So if we're looking at a citywide chip seal in 2 years, I'm trying to buy cold mix years in advance so that we can get patched up and decrease the cost of chip seal. So that's kind of what the co-op is going to be, smaller. The downside is these are both 75-25% programs. And if we're fully funded, we will be stretching gas tax that's already thin, even thinner. But I think, you know, with knowing our general fund reserves and y'all's commitment to the street program, we're going to chase every dollar and worry about match when we get there. The reality is how fast these projects actually come to fruition allows us some time to bank a few months or even a year of gas tax to get there. But we are operating on a razor thin margin there. You know, in budgeting season, I probably would ask at some point we earmark a certain amount of reserves, whether it's 100,000 a year, 200,000 a year, and start moving money into the street department to allow us to chase more grants. But you know, at some point we got to carry our own weight in this thing, and when gas tax doesn't do it, general fund kind of has to take the hit, and I can see that coming in the near future.
Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Mr. Phillips?
So how thin does this make you between 105 and the other map?
Well, I mean, with Maverick kind of showing a little uptick, I mean, gas tax has been so unpredictable. I feel like we'll get there. If everything hit, plus I'm going to be coming with the TPF application that's going to be upward of a couple $1 million. We're right there. I'll be honest, I'll be looking for money. And if it all gets there. I mean, if we don't get the MAP, I'm probably on the plus side. If we're lucky enough to get all 3, we'll be having a funding shortfall.
Thank you. Anything further for Mr. Phillips? I'd entertain a motion for item E.
I will move to approve Resolution 2026-13 application for FY 26 through 27 municipal arterial map or program map funding to NMDOT District 4.
Second.
A motion and a second for item E to adopt resolution 2026-13. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item F, deliberate and act on resolution 2026-14, application for fiscal year 26-27 LGRF cooperative co-op funding to NMDOT District 4. Mr. Phillips?
That is our co-op grant that will be by purchasing cold mix and crack sealing and some base course for alley prep with. DOT has kind of got a new approach the last few years. In years that you get an MAP project, they usually take your co-op away. So the odds of getting all three are slim, but they're kind of willy-nilly with the rules there. I would hope to get the MAP project. It's worth considerably more dollars. But if you don't get the MAP, the co-op is pretty much a given, do what you want with kind of thing. And like I say, this is the most basic of pavement maintenance. It's materials for my crew to use and probably a $60,000 hit for a state price agreement crack sealer to come and, crack sealing is the single most important thing we can do to preserve pavement that's already in decent shape. Anything constructed in the last 20 years, if you can crack seal and stay in front of it, you can thwart reconstruction by decades. And we're really trying hard to get to a point where we're doing that more often.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Mr. Phillips on this? Would entertain a motion on item F?
I recommend approval of resolution 2026-14, application for fiscal year 2026-2027, LGRF cooperative co-op funding for NMDOT District 4. I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2026-14 for the co-op grant. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item G, deliberate and act on Sunland Asphalt proposal for the Roundhouse Park project. Mr. Phillips. Lots of asphalt going around here.
So, this is the kind of asphalt you shouldn't be driving on. Last meeting, we brought to you several quotes for the Roundhouse Park $1 million plus grant that has the fast fuse on it. I told you I'd be diligent in getting the next phase out. So what you have in front of you is a proposal from Sunland Asphalt for over $402,000 for the resurfacing of the trails at Roundhouse Park. It should include all tie-ins, the complete pavement surface. You'll notice in the quote, we've earmarked $50,000 for rubberized crack seal and application of mastic crack seal, which is a crack seal product that's used for the most severe of cracking. It's $50,000 I think is well spent towards having the trails last longer, a 2-inch overlay. I'm confident if we build them this way, they'll make it past my time at the city, which will be at least 12 years. I think that's a pretty good goal to have. Unfortunately, asphalt trails don't wear as well as asphalt streets. Something about the pneumatic action of tires and traffic seem to actually make your streets wear better, last longer. I think it'd be the reverse, that if you drove on a street and plowed it with snow, it would actually deteriorate faster. Roundhouse Trail System's got some age. It looks like it's constructed in several phases, probably beginning in the 90s and going through some recent work that we did when we constructed Memorial Lane. The pricing is kind of what you would expect out of a CES or a state price agreement. There's a little bit of a premium to it, but it's kind of a different skill set to it. I was encouraged to learn that the purchase of the asphalt material is intended to be locally purchased. Sunland has indicated that they've received quotes from Northern Mountain to supply the asphalt mix, and generally it'd be the job that most highway contractors wouldn't touch because the laydown machine is small. It's done with a lot smaller trucks, and the mastic isn't applied to very many people in New Mexico. So I think given all that, the pricing's fair. It's 100% grant money, so the price is right for us. The time frame moves it to where it's constructed. There are whispers that this grant may be extended, but I don't really operate on any of that notion. Right now I have a grant agreement that says it expires June 30th. My intention, until I have an amendment to that grant agreement, is to expend these funds in the timeline presented. So I would recommend approval to Sunland Asphalt for the $402,877.68.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Any questions or comments?
What's the linear measurement of this trail? You have a square footage.
I want to say it was like 8,172 linear feet, somewhere in that neighborhood to get to the 90,000 square yards, averaging 8-foot width.
Anything further for Mr. Phillips? Entertain a motion on item G.
I would move to approve the Sunland Asphalt project or proposal for the Roundhouse Park project. Second.
Motion and second for item G, the proposal for Roundhouse Park for Sunland Asphalt. for $402,877,680.68. Any further discussion?
Where does that leave us in dollars?
I'm about 200,000 at this point short of expending all the funds, and I've got quotes for fitness equipment and installation that would probably get us near that. I also have a quote forthcoming for a new scoreboard at Bonahum Park to replace the one that hasn't functioned in my entire time here. And then infield material for Bonahum would be the last of it, so.
Oh, good. Okay.
We will spend it all.
It'd be a whole meal deal.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Anything further? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item H, deliberate and act on Park Hill proposal for 2026 landfill environmental monitoring services contract. Mr. Phillips.
In an effort to spend every penny that the city has, I bring you another. So this is our annual proposal from Park Hill, which was formerly Gordon Environmental, that has done laboratory analysis and sampling of the groundwater at the closed Raton Municipal Landfill. You will notice a $3,000 increase, more or less, over last year's proposal, which reflects a change in the number of constituents that NMED requires us to sample. They, from time to time, change that list, and we'll be sampling twice a year. It's a $1,500 additional in lab fees each time. It's just the cost of doing business, and I know the conversation that came up, how long does this last? October 4th, 2046, to be exact. So, we got a road in front of us, but, I mean, 30-year post-closure plan, that's kind of what these landfills leave you with, is a large liability into the future, and, unfortunately, that's something our ratepayers are gonna have to pay. We do generally take this out of the 216 environmental tax that's earmarked towards the landfill operations and the transfer station debt, so we have the money to pay for it. It's, like I say, just kind of the cost of doing business when you operate a landfill. You got a 30-year obligation to do so, so I would recommend approval of it begrudgingly.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Any comments or questions from the commission?
Mayor,
Yes.
Have they ever found anything of concern that they bring up?
We do. Yeah, we have a potential exceedance at least once or twice a year, some random stuff. And the ironic thing is, we hear a lot data center discussion about pollution of water. And the reality is Raton's groundwater that exists, thank God most of us don't drink, but even our up gradient wells pop for some weird constituents from time to time. And the whole point of having an up gradient well and down gradient wells is to see what impact the landfill's having on this nasty groundwater that's beneath it. And it turns out, no matter which side you sample on it, it's pretty nasty. So, there's probably things like arsenic, some petroleum, but there's natural occurring stuff that just pops exceedances. And never anything, we send a letter in with every exceedance and no one ever chimes back that we need to do something about it. So I think it's just kind of the natural ebb and flow on the Pierre shale layer, but it's nothing I would like to drop a well into and have a drink of at any time.
It is a very low sustainable flow anyway.
It is. It's the kind of landfill that's going to be more of an entomb situation. We produce very little methane because there's very little composting that's taking place. The construction of this landfill has an 18-inch semi-impermeable cap, so rainwater isn't generally percolating through it. And we probably have one of the most successful landfill reclamation sites that I've ever seen. Even through drought, our natural grass regrowth and our planting techniques, a lot of it because we had our own mulch on hand from the green waste, it's in pretty good shape. We've experienced very little erosion, at the place, and we put money, $4,200 a month, into a trust fund to deal with these potential problems. And in case we went bankrupt, that's what would pay for this monitoring for the next 24 years. But it's healthy, and on top of it, one of the best things that we've done is Lee Dixon and his packing operation at High Country Meats has one of the first of its kind offal composting operations that's co-located on our landfill. Does a tremendous job of making that local business happen, provides a lot of educational opportunities. We host a landfill compost recycling course about every 3 or 4 years, they come up and see Lee's operation. And even when the Environment Department was not very friendly to the city of Raton, that relationship kind of started to bridge the gap of, one, we got in compliance and did a lot better job managing our solid waste facilities, but two, we kind of were on the cutting edge of this offal composting, and it's great for their business, and it's kind of a model that's working across the state, and it was pioneered by Mr. Dixon here in Raton.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you.
Anything further from the commission? Entertain a motion on item H.
I recommend approval of the Park Hill proposal for the 2026 landfill environmental monitoring service contract.
A motion is second to approve the Park Hill proposal for the 2026 monitoring. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Item I, deliberate and act on resolution 2026-15, adopting an ADA self-evaluation and transition plan. Mr. Sagata.
Mayor and Commission, before you is a resolution to adopt the Americans with Disabilities Act Self-Evaluation and Transition Plan. That kind of describes the evaluation process, provides policy, program recommendations, and, presents a transition plan that we can implement when we modify our facilities and our sidewalks and such. We do have Mr. Little here, who was instrumental in working on this, if you have any questions. But this has been presented in 2 public meetings. It's been posted on the website. We've met all the guidelines, and the city would recommend adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Sagata. Any comments or questions for Mr. Sagata or Mr. Little?
Dave, could you suggest to us like the top 3 priority-wise of issues that we need to address?
Members of the commission, I'm Dave Little. You might notice that the report prioritizes based on, I think, a 1 year, a 5 year, 10 years, so on, up to 20 years. We've tried to put the low-hanging fruit on the the 1 year, the 5 year. I don't think there's anything that jumps out as being a high priority over another. We did try to prioritize also the items that would affect the public more. For instance, if it's a high-use facility, obviously that would take a higher priority than some of the 20-year programs. But to answer your question, no, there's not any specifics other than that kind of logic in the grading.
So, like safety issues, though, that you saw when you did your
I
study?
wouldn't consider any of them safety issues. As you know, ADA has more to do with just accessibility, not so much safety.
Any further, Commissioner Hobart?
This is a very well-researched and written document, by the way. I just want to let you know, I was very impressed. But what I'm not clear on, and maybe we don't know yet among the commission, but what kind of timeline, you said 1 year, 5 year, and 20 year, what kind of timeline? And what would be the first steps that we would take?
You're right in that it goes up to 20 years. Try to fit everything in that was found out of compliance, fit that into a 20-year time frame. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell how to pay for it. That's
right.
Another aspect. But I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question?
What would you recommend doing in year 1?
Which items to take in the first year, you're saying? It's been a while since we looked at that. They were a lot on Second Street, things that overhang the walkway, the sidewalks. Easy to repair curb ramps. I'm sorry, I can't give you a better description
That's
right
okay,
off.
you're giving me an idea. And so you have a list of items that could be easily addressed.
The report identifies, the 1 year through 5 year. It's separated more by facility. For instance, the City Hall would have 1 year, 5 year, 10-year items, rather than a list of this is what you do the first year, this is fifth year. Jaden Welch, you might remember, is the ADA coordinator, and lucky guy. I think a lot of it falls on him to start taking those steps.
I'm going to ask a question. I think that in our packet, we didn't have, because it was like 100 and some pages, but we can get a digital copy. Would that be possible to make sure that everybody has a digital copy of that so we can see those plans? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Mayor and Commission, Mr. Phillips and I, along with Jaden, did take a drive-through. Well, I guess it was just me and Mr. Phillips that day, took a drive-through town to look at the stuff on Main Street and that. We're gonna probably address those issues first, since those I feel would be, put us at more of a liability. So we're gonna probably address some of those first and then look at the other facilities. Mr. Phillips, any?
Mayor, first off, I would like to echo those comments about Mr. Little's plan. I mean, it is definitely well done. And it's something that Scott and I have chased money for the better part of the last 10 years. So we also need to tip our cap to North Central for bringing this money forward, because it didn't fit any of the planning grants or any of the other funding mechanisms. It was going to be a general fund hit. Long story short, even before we had a plan, we had a plan. We always have a plan. And so actually, I believe it's today, Tyler from Engineering Analytics has released the bid set for the South 2nd Street Improvement Project. We don't own South 2nd Street, but we went out. We understand its importance to Raton, received almost $900,000 in grant funding. A lot of that is ADA accessibility. It's replacing damaged wheelchair ramps, curry turns, clearing obstructions. Every project that we've touched, going back to my KS Berry days, if you touch a sidewalk, you try to make it ADA accessible. We've always been in the downtown area looking to add wheelchair ramps and that. What I'm looking at proposing is that as a TPF project is an extension of the downtown Raton infrastructure project, the DRIP project that was the CDBG project completed about 5 years ago. It did the same thing throughout the northern half of 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Street. We're going to extend that to the south in this application. It'll be heavy with sidewalk and wheelchair ramp replacement. To me, I think a lot of it's common sense. There's going to be an ask to put a wheelchair ramp to a cannon at a park, but at the same time, we exist in a building that doesn't have an accessible button to open a door. So we're going to attack those things that make sense, where the public comes to most frequently first. But ADA does, as Dave stated, there's no funding associated with it. We're going to chase that, do it ourselves. But mostly what they're looking at is your intent and your actions. If you do a project, do you make it better? Chip seal inside the roadway prism. We're generally not going to replace water lines underneath the chip seal street. We're not going to step into the curb and gutters and to the sidewalks. When we do full reconstruction, we're going to talk to the water department first, probably replace a water line underneath it, and usually do associated sidewalk. And a lot of times in Raton, it's construction of sidewalk and not replacement, because there just isn't much of it. But with the way our budget looks right now, if you can knock out one building project and 2 or 3 wheelchair ramps a year, we're achieving higher than I would expect. But I think you worry about what is now the Department of Justice, used to be the Attorney General's office, getting those complaints. We now have Jaden set up as the coordinator that would receive those complaints. He'd come visit with me. We talk about, where does that fall on the priority list? Obviously, post office, buildings, those things are higher usage than residential neighborhoods. The reality is a lot of Raton sits at above 5% grade, and good luck making a sidewalk accessible up Savage Avenue. You'd have 30 switchbacks to get anywhere. So there's the reality of what ADA requires, and then there's the terrain of Raton. So we balance it at both, but things like the convention center where people might vote, those are important to be accessible. We're going to look at those ramps and those parking places. City Hall is, the city manager and I have already discussed what it would take to get that button to open the doors, because we've seen just the elderly struggle, but folks that have tried to enter this building on wheelchairs have a harder time. So that's going to take priority for us over these, but they're all up in there somewhere, and nothing a whole lot of money couldn't fix. We'll do the best we can with what we've got in the meantime. Now, one thing I did learn today, was on the training to recertify for the tribal and local public agency certification with NMDOT. And it used to always be suggested that you have an ADA transition plan, and I want to say it's a Section 6 plan. I think it's VI. And we've had one without the other, but now going forward, any application for federal funding through NERPO or those organizations, you are going to have this on file before you're even eligible to apply. So it also opens a path towards additional funding in the future that we could potentially use for ADA projects as well.
So by on file, you mean on file the
We will have this in our document, and it will be presented to NMDOT for their approval and then put it into a database of compliant or non-compliant entities. And we will, for the first time in my time in Raton, be compliant in that regard.
Anything further for Mr. Phillips? Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Little. I'll entertain a motion for item I.
I would move to approve resolution 2026-15, adopting an ADA self-evaluation and transition plan.
Motion and a second to adopt resolution 2026-15. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item J, deliberate and act on resolution 2026-16, amending the financial advisory committee composition. Mr. Sagata.
Mayor and Commission, before you is a proposal to expand the membership of the current Financial Advisory Committee. Currently, we have Treasurer Michael Ann Antonucci and Mayor Pro Tem Mark Honeyfield on that committee with 3 additional members. We're asking for 1 additional member. Why that was brought up is they're currently having trouble attaining a quorum. With some of our members recently dropping off and some experiencing health issues. Then that also brought up a question whether or not there really is still a need for this committee. We've had a discussion with Mayor Pro Tem and myself. I believe, was Michael, were you a part of that discussion? She was, yes. And really this board was the creation of some turmoil that was going on in the city a decade or so ago. It really has no authority. It has no actionable authority other than it's an advisory committee. The only committee that has any authority to act on financial decisions is this Board of Commissioners right here. So as presented on the agenda, you can vote to expand, not expand, take no action on this meeting, and we can revisit after some further dialogue, but I would think this is something that we would need to discuss, because like I said, while they serve as sort of an oversight and looking, there's really nothing they can do actionable-wise.
Thank you, Mr. Sagata. Comments or questions from the commission?
Mayor, it was at a much more difficult time at the time we tried to do that because some of the issues we were, going through, which it is a different time today. So I see what you're saying. It was more than anything else, it was about guidance. It was trying to do it and look at different situations.
Michael Ann, do you have an opinion one way or the other?
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. And looking at this, it looks like it was about 12 years ago that this commission enacted a resolution to establish this committee. I think that the committee has done a good job, and I want to commend all of the volunteers that we've had over the years. I think Kathy Harris probably being the longest serving committee member. We did just recently appoint Donna Clausen to replace Cy Trujillo. In addition to some of the oversight, I generally prepare the financial reports. The committee will review them. We might have some discussion and corrections before we bring those to the commission for formal review and approval. We've also utilized the board in years past, like if we are doing like banking RFPs, they've kind of served as the committee to review the proposals. Audit services, we've also utilized them to review proposals for audit services. So we have used the committee in, lots of different capacities. I think that, speaking to transparency, probably from an audit standpoint, even the state auditor, I think a lot of communities, I think looking at Roswell, I saw agendas for a very similar committee on their website. So I think it's pretty prevalent statewide to have these types of committees. And they might be called different things. Some might be called an audit committee, but ours is the Financial Advisory Committee. So, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, and
Thank you. So I would probably recommend continuance.
yeah, and that's what we decided to put it on as a discussion, because the question came up, well, what is the purpose and what are we doing here? So thank Michael Ann for that explanation there, and it's your decision.
It's a good discussion, thank you. Any other comments or questions?
No, I would just, Mayor, just from Michael Ann's experience, like I said, if it serves some review and help you and everything else, and just to look at it, it's probably a good thing to continue.
Yeah. And we do try to attract individuals that have a financial background. And it's also helpful. They can kind of disseminate information to the public so that we're getting, actual information to the public as well.
Let me ask a question about the structure.
Oh,
So
sure.
right now there's 5. Is that including you?
It was.
Okay,
And
so you're basically saying you would move to a secretary position and it'd be 5
So we've
members
always
of the
kind of interpreted it that I'm kind of serving as the secretary of the committee because I do the minutes and agendas. I've never really considered myself a voting member. I'm also presenting the financials to them. So I kind of wanted to clarify that in the new resolution, that I'm kind of the non-voting member serving as the secretary. But in terms of trying to establish a quorum, it would be beneficial to have an additional appointed member.
So basically, the quorum would be, the majority would be 6, 5? I guess quorum is, are you looking at
Of the
3?
5 voting members, we would need 3 for a
So we're looking at the voting members for a quorum, not all 6. Any further discussion? What is the will of the commission? Would you like more time, or would you like to continue as it is?
I think we should continue with the addition of the member.
Is that a motion, Commissioner Hoger?
Okay.
All right.
Second.
All right, thank you. All right, I have a motion and a second to continue with the committee and to approve Resolution 2026-16, amending the Financial Advisory Committee composition. Any further discussion?
I guess my only comment would be that other member could be another commissioner if they so desired to serve. Where there's 2 commissioners on that committee versus 1. And I guess I would ask your opinion, Michael, and if that would make a difference to you versus a community member.
We could add that to the resolution. I think an additional commissioner is probably always welcome to attend, whether it's formalized or not. We certainly would need to avoid a quorum, but I do know that Commissioner Hoger recently attended, and so you're always more than welcome. But yeah, we would just have to avoid a quorum if it's not formalized. So that would be up to the commission.
And right now it's written 1 city commissioner and 4 appointed members with financial expertise. So we would have to change the writing if we wanted to have that be a 2 commission.
Yeah, and we didn't mention, but they are 6-year terms, which is fairly long. Not everybody serves a full term. The additional appointee would serve an initial 3-year term to maintain the staggering that we currently have, and then would be reappointed for a 6-year term. So we have 1 expiring every year.
I do have a motion and a second as is to adopt this resolution. Is there any further discussion?
I guess, Mayor, I would actually, Mark, are you thinking the second commissioner would possibly be easier to get a quorum there, or, you know?
Possibly, that's what I was
I
kind
think
of.
that's where you were going, is more likely to, could have a commissioner show up where you'd keep a quorum there and not show up for nothing.
My only thought is we all see it when it comes to the commission, so I don't know if it needs to be one of us. I know that my schedule, I probably cannot serve on another committee at this point, but that's not saying if somebody else wasn't interested that that isn't possible.
Well, and I didn't know if it needed to be spelled out or not. I mean, I agree, yeah. If we're gonna keep it, add another member so we are more likely to keep a quorum.
Thank you. Anything further? Any wishes to change the motion that's on the table? Okay. All in favor of adopting Resolution 2026-16, please vote in the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Item K, City Manager Report.
Mayor and Commissioners, try and get through this quickly. I want to call out Chief Burke and RFD. They responded to the vehicle accident fire on top of the pass last week in which the semi ran into the other semi and the pilot car caused a fire atop of the pass. I want to thank them and commend them for keeping that fire contained and not letting it get into the brush. It could have been a different story had that happened. So thanks, Chief, for your crew and your quick response. I understand the chief was actually out at the airport when that happened, and there may have been some speeding involved in getting to the fire. All right. Other information, the city currently, we have roughly 60 grants that we are managing. In a dollar comparison, in fiscal year 17, the total disbursements for grants that year was $1.8 million. So far this year through February, we have dispersed and gotten $5.3 million. So we are managing, that shows you the workload that is currently on our staff and that right now. Not that grants are bad. We'll take free money, but it is starting to stretch our staff a little bit. Today, I know Michael Land and Jason participated in a presentation on a grant management software program. I understand it's quite pricey, but we'll probably shop around and see what we can do to help kind of alleviate some of that and help us handle our grants a little better. And that, not that we're doing anything terribly wrong, it's just trying to save some time. As was mentioned earlier today, Jason and I participated in what rural communities need to know about AI data centers. It was a webinar. It really wasn't against or for, it was just good information. Found it very informative. I did link the audio in the slide packet. I have a link to that and it's available if you all would like a copy. I just got that link today, so I can make that available to you all. Mayor Pro Tem Honeyfield, myself, Jaden, we did a walkthrough of the Kearney School Project with Ann and Jose and Franken Construction. You know, there's still several obstacles to overcome, but by the end of Phase 1B, we should have an operational studio. We met with Jose and Ann again today to discuss that. There is some financial difficulties ahead, but and the mayor was in that meeting today as well. I think we can still make this project work. We tossed around some other ideas about possibly opening some of the classrooms up as vocational training opportunities and that, and Mayor Pro Tem had some good ideas about, like he did on the watershed, using some youth to maybe finish some of these classrooms and that. So we're looking at all kinds of options for that. The Raton Senior Center ventilation project is nearing completion. We anticipate full operations of the center to recommence on Monday, March 16th. It should be in ready to go. Today, the mayor and myself went on a ride along with code enforcement staff. Very informative, and it was also kind of disheartening. We saw a lot of properties that need definite attention, and the bottom line is we don't have a bottomless bucket to take care of this, so we need to focus on the ones that make the most impact, not only just in maybe the downtown area, but in neighborhoods as well. Because people want to know that we do recognize that there is some problems in the neighborhoods that you don't see every day, and that we need to address these as well. So it was pretty good. Mayor, if you had anything to add to that, you know.
Yeah, and they invited any commissioners that want to go for a ride along, just let George know and Mac, and that's who we went with, and kind of give you an overview. What I learned is and I learned this from Jaden too, it's a very organic process depending on like who's actually doing something, and so it's not always the exact target that we start with, or it could just be someone, you know, that there's a lot of complaints about a particular property, but it's very interesting and yeah.
An eye-opener.
Eye-opener.
And finally, let's see, myself, Jason, Commissioners Campbell and Schuster, along with Ann and Cynthia, will be meeting with the Pickers tribe on Thursday, kind of review where we are and to gather information, gather information for the application to BIA regarding the proposed casino. We'll be heading over there 7:30 Thursday morning. Don't be late. And then on Friday, I will be attending the New Mexico Self-Insurers Fund board meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Sagata. Anything further from the commission? Commissioner Hogan? Commissioner Campbell?
I would just reiterate what you said earlier on even the data center issue, any issue. I'm sure all commissioners this way, but my cards are out there. If they wanted to answer your questions about water or anything else we've discussed, just reach out, and I'm willing to meet with anybody.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Schuster? Mayor Pro Tem Highfield? I will just put this idea out in the community. If anybody is willing to donate and invest in the film school and the stage, we are in the market because we really want to get this project across the finish line. So if you need a plan for your funds after you pass away and you want to give it this way or anything like that, I know that El Raton Media Works has put in a lot of effort on this project. We've tried to get as much grant funding as we can, and as we finish these phases, nothing is getting less expensive, and we really want to be able to have the funding we need to get that, open the doors, and preferably all constructed. And I'm serious. If anybody is interested, we will be definitely looking for people who are interested in donations. So keep that in mind with your tax return this year. Or like me, you might be paying, so you're kind of stuck there. But otherwise, I really appreciate everyone's decorum tonight and everyone's willingness to listen and to hear each other. And